The twin suns of Valtor burned crimson and gold above the shattered plains. Smoke rose from the wreckage of 1,000 skirmishes. For 10 years, the war between the northern and southern tribes of the Zorath had consumed the planet, brother killing brother, kingdom devouring kingdom. And in the middle of that madness stood a single human. Commander Nathan Cole didn't belong here. He'd arrived 2 years ago as part of the Galactic Mediation Corps, sent to broker peace between the two warring Zorath factions. But after the Corps withdrew, declaring the conflict unsalvageable, Nathan stayed behind. He couldn't stomach walking away. Now, as dawn spread its fire across the ruined horizon, Nathan adjusted the cracked visor of his helmet and stared out from a ridge above the battlefield. Below him, the two armies were forming ranks again, thousands of armored Zorath warriors, their obsidian scales gleaming, banners of red and blue snapping in the wind. At their head stood two kings, Varric of the south and Kareth of the north. Cousins once, mortal enemies now. Nathan's translator pinged in his ear. "Commander Cole," came the voice of Sergeant Trin, his Zorath ally. "The Peace Council has failed again. They marched to final war. There will be no more talks." Nathan exhaled slowly. "Then we make them talk." Trin blinked his violet eyes. "How, human? They're kings. They do not listen to anyone, especially not an off-worlder." Nathan tightened the straps on his chest plate. "They'll listen when I walk into the middle of their battlefield." By mid-morning, the armies had met at the Vale of Spears, a dead valley littered with broken banners and bones. The air shimmered with heat and hate. The Zorath stood silent as their kings rode forward, each mounted on a massive six-legged beast. The ground trembled beneath them. Then, from the human side of the ridge, a single figure began walking down the slope. Nathan Cole, unarmed, dusty, his armor scorched and dented from months in the field, stepped onto the blood-soaked plain. At first, neither army moved. Thousands of eyes followed him, murmurs rippling through the ranks. "What is this?" King Varric roared, his voice echoing through his amplifier helm. "The human seeks death?" Nathan's voice carried clear and firm. "I seek peace." Again. The kings laughed, two deep, thunderous sounds. "Peace died long ago, off-worlder," said Kareth. "You should not die with it." Nathan stopped in the very center, between the two armies. "Peace doesn't die until you kill it." The laughter faltered. Warriors shifted uneasily. Nathan took a deep breath. "You're both fighting for the same thing, your people's survival. But while you fight, your crops burn, your hatchlings starve, your temples fall to dust. You're killing the future you claim to protect." Varric sneered. "You know nothing of our honor." "You're right," Nathan said softly. "But I know loss. I've seen planets burn for less." Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small metal sphere, a relic of the first peace conference, encoded with a message from both kings. He pressed the button. A projection shimmered in the air between them. Images of Varric and Kareth, younger, smiling side by side. Their voices echoed. "For the unity of Zorath. For the future of our people." The crowd stirred. The memory of peace had long been buried, but not erased. Nathan stepped forward, voice trembling with conviction. "This is who you were before greed, before pride. I'm just a human, but if I must stand here and die to remind you what unity means, then I'll die right here." He tossed away his helmet and spread his arms. "So choose. Kill me, and prove you're nothing but beasts. Or stop this, and prove you are kings." For a long, agonizing minute, no one moved. Then, with a hiss of metal, Varric dismounted. He dropped his blade into the dust. "Enough," he growled. Kareth stared at him in disbelief. "You would yield." I would live, Varric said. And so should you. Slowly, hesitantly, Kareth dismounted as well. The valley held its breath. Then, before the gathered armies, the two kings clasped forearms. A roar rose from the warriors, not of war, but of something forgotten. Hope. Nathan's legs nearly gave out with relief. 3 months later, peace had taken fragile root. Reconstruction began. The divided capitals opened their borders, and for the first time in a decade, the two suns rose over a united Zorath. Nathan was summoned to the royal palace, once a fortress of war, now a seat of reconciliation. The twin kings ruled side by side, their courts merged, their people watching with cautious optimism. As Nathan entered the grand hall, hundreds of Zorathi nobles filled the chamber, scaled beings of every hue, their eyes reflecting the firelight. Trumpets blared. Commander Nathan Cole of Earth, the herald announced, preserver of peace, mediator of kings, savior of Zorath. Nathan bowed slightly, uncomfortable under the attention. I just did what anyone should have done. King Varric rose from his throne. No, human. You did what no one else could. You gave us back our future. Kareth nodded. And now, we would give you something in return. Nathan frowned. I told you, I don't need a reward. But the court erupted in laughter. Varric raised a clawed hand. It is not a reward of gold or land. It is something rarer. He turned toward the side doors. They opened, revealing a young Zorathi woman with emerald scales and deep violet eyes. She carried a staff crowned with a glowing crystal. This is Princess Sailra, said Kareth, heir to both our bloodlines. Born in the last year of the war, hidden from both sides until peace came. The princess bowed gracefully. My life exists because you ended the war, human. The kings have decreed that I shall serve as Zoratha's ambassador to your people, if you will be my guardian. The court murmured in astonishment. To offer their sole heir to a foreigner was beyond belief. Nathan blinked, stunned. You're entrusting your heir to me? Varric's voice was solemn. You brought peace where all our generals failed. We would have you teach her the heart of humanity, the strength that does not come from claws or armor. Nathan felt the weight of the hall upon him. Every gaze waited for his answer. He looked to Sailra. She met his eyes steadily, a faint smile softening her sharp features. I don't know if I'm worthy, Nathan said quietly, but I'll try. Varric grinned, fanged and fierce. Then it is done. The entire court struck their spears against the floor in thunderous rhythm, the Zorathi gesture of highest honor. That night, Nathan stood on the palace balcony, overlooking the capital. Lanterns floated like stars above the streets. For the first time, laughter echoed where once there had been screams. Sailra joined him, her scales shimmering in the twin moon's glow. Do humans always risk their lives for strangers? She asked softly. Sometimes, Nathan said. Sometimes it works. She tilted her head. And sometimes it doesn't. He smiled faintly. Then we try again. The princess regarded him for a long moment, then nodded. Perhaps that is the secret of your species. Not your strength, but your refusal to stop trying. Nathan looked out over the reborn city. Maybe that's what peace really is, not an end, but a promise to keep trying. Sailra placed a hand over her heart. Then I promise, human, Zorath will keep trying. Below them, fireworks burst across the night sky, bright trails of crimson and gold, the colors of both kingdoms now entwined. And as the echoes rolled through the valley that had once been the Vale of Spears, Nathan realized something profound. Peace, fragile and flawed as it was, had finally taken root. And for the first time since he'd set foot on Zorath, he felt like he belonged, not as a soldier, not as a savior, but as part of something larger. The court would speak for generations of the day a single human stopped a civil war. But only Nathan and the young princess knew the truth, that peace was not won by strength, or fear, or power. It was won by faith. And on that alien world, faith had a human face.